In this video, I am bringing for you a speech delivered by Honorable Justice Milind Jadhav of Bombay High Court at Nagpur. The speech was organized by the High Court Bar Association Nagpur on 18 December 2019. In his speech, Life as a Lawyer, Honorable Justice Milind Jadhav shares his journey into the world of law, and at the same time, he shares so many tips, tricks, and advice for fresh and young lawyers who want to make it big in the legal world. Honorable Justice Jadhav motivates young lawyers to do their best. The most important thing that you will learn from his speech is how to reduce the gestation period as a litigation lawyer. All his insights are shared by Honorable Justice Milind Jadhav, and I would urge you all to listen to the entire speech and not leave any part of it. While listening to the speech, take notepad and pen and make notes out of that speech. Friends, the speech for most of its part is in audio, but that should not deter you from hearing the speech. And I would urge you all to carefully and completely listen to the entire speech. So, all the best, my young friends. Let us begin with the speech.
And when Mr. Patil had come to me, I was a little taken aback. So I told him that generally one requires a little time to prepare. But if I know what the target audience is, so he told me that the target audience would be the youngsters. And the youngsters have always been very close to my heart. So I told him that I need not thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you. Now this talk is going to be a talk with a little difference. Let me tell you all that. Don't expect anything rhetoric. I'm going to share my own life experiences with you all and what has influenced my life, or the trajectory and growth of my life, so that it could probably incentivize and maybe help you all in trying to cut down your gestation. And I feel that if I introduce these topics to you all, probably it may help you all to a certain extent in making a difference. You see, my journey began in a very indifferent manner. Both my parents were government servants, and I lost my father when I was very young. So I took up the job on compassionate grounds in the railways. And after serving the railways for about 3-4 years, in 1993, I walked into Government Law College. Little did I know that the person who was sitting across the counter was the vice principal of the college, Mrs. Rao, who ultimately later on became the principal. And I asked her that it is possible for me to take admission in law from this academic year. So she said that, are you serious? I said yes. So she asked, the next question she asked me, do you have money in your pocket? So I said yes. She said, and let me come out. She came out and took me to Madam Advani's chamber, who was the principal, then principal, and told her that this gentleman wishes to take admission in law. So I think we should give him the law, because they were in a hurry to fill up the seats. So Madam Advani asked me one question: why do you want to study law? The answer which I gave to her would probably make all of you laugh. I told her that I was very keen to get those 4 additional increments in central government service if I get the LLB degree, so that my salary would catapult by an appreciable 400 rupees, 100 rupees per increment, that way. So she also started laughing. And she said, very well, I'll give you the benefit of doubt, and she enrolled me in the law college. Now the reason why I mentioned this to y'all is because the journey began from here. And then, took a very, very, very interesting turn. And one of the topics that I would introduce to y'all is going to be peer group at some point of time. So this peer group played an important part in my life. Until I joined the law college, I was a very avid trekker. I have done my 9 seasons in high altitude mountaineering and trekking. And I am a trained first class graduate from this National Civil Defence Academy at Nagpur in rescue, firefighting and first aid. And I used to train railway employees in becoming, in rescue operations, in firefighting and all these things. But the moment I decided to become a lawyer, I stopped all these things. So the word sacrifice is something which you should write down and pen down somewhere in your, or etch down somewhere in your memory. Sacrifice. So I stopped it. Why? Because I was embarking on something different, something new. And then there was a thought process behind it. In 1997, when I was still undecided of becoming a lawyer, let me tell you that, I came across a book written by an Australian journalist of Indian origin called Hon'ble. The name of the book was The Polyester Prince. It's on the life story of Dhirubhai Ambani, the Reliance giant. The book was at that point of time banned in India, but now copies are available everywhere. So if you get an opportunity, read that book. So I was deeply impressed and influenced by this book, which was introduced to me by a very close friend of mine called Dr. Date, who was doing his studies for PhD in forensic DNA fingerprinting at that point of time. And I used to study along with him in the library of the Government Law College. So the influence of the peer group, or the right kind of peer group, started in the year 1998. And why did this book impress me? This particular book, The Polyester Prince, it traced down the history of Dhirubhai Ambani and how he made Reliance, and some old school people would know his brand name was, flagship name was Vimal, only Vimal. Why did only Vimal become the most popular brand and franchise in India? This particular book introduced me to the philosophy followed by Dhirubhai Ambani. In order to manufacture polyester yarn, what Dhirubhai Ambani did was, there were 9 or 10 raw ingredients required. So what this gentleman did was, instead of thinking of manufacturing polyester yarn, he started manufacturing these raw ingredients first. He virtually had a monopoly on all the 8 or 9 ingredients. And ultimately, once he had the monopoly on these 8 or 9 ingredients, Mr. Ambani embarked upon manufacturing polyester yarn, whereby he had a monopoly on polyester yarn also, whereby he could fix whatever price he wanted for that particular product. So the reason for mentioning this impression on you all is, I tried to adapt it to our legal profession when I started, and of course with the aid of my peer group. So Dr. Date and Mr. Jogi, who was an engineer from IIT Bombay, chemical engineer, and IIM Ahmedabad, they were in my peer group. So we started doing something different. So immediately before I became a lawyer, we started a company, or we started a partnership firm, you can say, where I was not a direct partner, because I was a central government servant at that time. That company, we introduced the concept of pre-engagement counseling for the first time in India. And believe me, in 6 months' time, we had a problem. The government took action against us, and we were asked to shut down. Because Pre-engagement counseling at that point of time in the early 90s in India, because at that time the economy had just opened up. It was a taboo. And with their aid and help, with this background, we started embarking upon looking at my career as a lawyer, because they both were settled, both my friends. So they said that let's do something for your generation. But they took a promise from me at that time. They told me that only if you will leave and resign from your central government service, we will allow you and help you out. And by which time I had fairly decided that I would not like to continue in service, because I wanted to do something different in life. The service did not attract me at all in that sense. I did not have job satisfaction in the service. So then they helped me and they told me that look, if you want to be a good lawyer and cut down on your gestation period, generally we have gestation, 5 years, 10 years, 4 years, depending, and first generation lawyer would have a longer gestation period. So they told me that there are certain things which you will have to really work hard upon before you get your son or immediately after you get your son. And those things probably would be those raw materials which Dhirubhai Ambani had thought of while manufacturing his end product. So as a lawyer, the first concept which they introduced to me was a healthy mind and a healthy body. So they said that no matter whatever you wish to be or become as a lawyer, these two things are the fundamental requirements. And who else better than you can be your best judge? So for the purpose of body, healthy body, I was a little stout at that time, So they told me healthy mind, healthy body. For the healthy mind, you need to have good friends who would have and share the same ambition. So that when you interact with them, probably you know that you are on the right path. And for the healthy body, certainly the old standard exercise, eat your meals on time. They introduced this concept quite early in point of time, and believe me, it had paid rich dividends to me. These two fundamental concepts of healthy mind and healthy body went to the next immediate concept, and that was filtration of the distractions that I had. So in your life, when you embark upon your journey as a lawyer or in the first few years of a lawyer, if you wish to cut down on your gestation, then you will have to ensure that your distractions get filtered by you yourself. So I am speaking a little abstract because it is not qua a particular example, but I hope you can make it applicable to your own lives. Filtration of distractions is extremely crucial and important because it will allow you to focus on what you wish to do. Distractions can be of various natures, and one of the distractions I introduced to you all at the outset. I was a very keen mountaineer and trekker. Every weekend, my haversacks used to be ready. I used to just pick up the bags, sometimes the wrong bags, and I used to just embark upon a trek. 9 seasons in the Sahyadris is by no means standard a mean feat, but I have completed 9 seasons, continuous 9 seasons. I have done high altitude trekking in the Himalayas also. I have done a desert trek in the Thar desert of 103 kilometers also. And it was very close to my heart, But because I became a lawyer, I resigned from my central government service and I decided that after my internship I would embark upon being a lawyer. And I chose the most difficult point, of becoming a lawyer. I got into indirect practice with a senior advocate, counsel. We never used to be paid anything. And all that I had to do was to just go behind the counsel in various courts, attend the courts in the morning when I used to be free, report to my senior about who argued what point. The reason was that conversation every day really incentivized me into becoming a good lawyer. So filtration of distraction was one thing. After I became a lawyer, I did not undertake any trek, though there were several opportunities from the bar also. Initially I did a couple of treks from the bar, from the Bombay Bar Association, but then I stopped it completely. I gave it up. I had also enrolled for my PhD, and seriously for 1 full year, my topic was independence of the judiciary, and but then I had to make a choice after that. I could have continued with my PhD. My contemporaries have all got their PhDs, let me tell you all. But they took around 8 years, 10 years, 12 years to get it. Now the choice was very difficult for me to make because I had already entered the profession at the age of 29-30. So at the age of 29-30, I had to give that up. So that is another account of something which was very close to my heart. Academics was very close to my heart, so I gave up my PhD also. But the idea was to filter these distractions which are close to you and which will probably digress you from your main focus. My focus was only on ensuring that in the chosen profession that I have got, I will reach further, for which my peer group friends were helping me out. The next concept which they introduced to me and pushed me very hard was the concept of personality development, English language, communication, English, comprehension, précis writing. Now you will ask me, why am I saying all these bacha topics in front of you? They are not bacha topics, they are extremely useful for lawyers. Now the exercise which I undertook at that point of time will again make you smile. I was asked by my peers who were helping me out to copy an essay from an essay book every day. So I used to just copy an essay, and it used to take me around 25 to 30 minutes to do that. In the process, my handwriting also improved. I was introduced to new concepts in the essays. I was also introduced to précis writing by then. Précis writing is extremely crucial because précis writing will enable you all as lawyers to make your arguments more forceful also in the court. So this was the concept which was introduced by them. So précis writing, comprehension, communication ability, English as a communication language to a certain extent. That boosted my confidence. For 3 years, 1 year before I got my final sanat during my internship, and 2 years after my sanat, the peer group which I had with me was rock solid behind me because I had chosen them. Remember that. And that was the 4th or the 5th concept which they introduced, and they told me that if you wish to go ahead faster, if you wish your trajectory to be faster, you have to choose your peer group. I had lots of school friends, college friends, area friends, but nevertheless, the people who would catapult me into my journey in achieving something as a lawyer was this. The most important facet. So peer group is something which each one of you will have to ensure that you cultivate. One more exercise which I had undertaken at that time at their behest in order to achieve things faster was to answer 2 or 3 questions. They made me write those questions on a piece of paper and asked me to jot down my answers in writing. I couldn't do it in the first instance, so I took a few days to do that. And what were those questions? The question was, how do I see myself at the age of 35? Because I entered the profession at the age of 29. The second question was, how do I see myself at the age of 45? So the reason why they made me answer these questions was only because they were very keen and interested that my gestation gets cut short. Very important. And I couldn't answer these questions. They are very difficult questions, let me tell you. But if you are able to pen down your answers, you will probably be able to focus on what you wish to achieve. I ultimately did that. And I said to myself that yes, if I've chosen indirect practice as a counsel, I was prohibited in my chamber, because our chamber, there was a prohibition in filing Vakil Patra or Vakalatnama, so I couldn't have direct clients. So our clients used to come only through solicitors, consultants and advocates or advocate firms. So that was a big handicap. But the flip side of this handicap was that I had ample opportunity to witness my colleagues in the chamber. All seniors. I was the junior most in the chamber, and fortunately for me, after I got enrolled into Dr. Setalwai's chamber, there was no other junior which came thereafter. So I had about 11 seniors in front of me, all of them senior advocates except one. And we had a full-length chamber, at that time. Though we had separate conference rooms. The idea of Dr. Setalwai was, when I am discussing something with my clients, I would like all the juniors in the chamber to remain present in the chamber within a year shot. Because that was the original concept in the Bombay High Court. In the Bombay High Court, chambers used to be allotted to all the seniors. And the concept was the seniors used to be in one place, surrounded by tables of all other juniors. So he followed the same concept in our chamber in Bombay. Initially, there was no work also, but these concepts which were introduced by my peer group and friends who were very keen helped me in passing my time. And why I say passing my time is because our chamber was like a school, and I would like to tell each one of you all that whichever chamber or office of a senior that you belong to, treat it like a school. It was actually a school. Go in the morning, unless and until it was extremely necessary, you digress from whatever you are supposed to do. Otherwise, keep on pushing yourself into acquiring knowledge about the briefs around you. So the idea was, whichever brief was around me, I had to just pick it up and read, be prepared. So as a junior, what my senior, Mr. Mohan Kode told me, Chandrasekhar Manohar Kode, he told me that initially you will not have work. Initially the briefs that I used to receive used to be briefs for 20 GMs and 30 GMs, those days. And the briefs were looking up authorities. That used to be the brief. So I had to look up authorities, in the reference section of the library and take out a few relevant authorities, make a small note and send it. So this is how I began, and at the end of it, Mr. Kode, my senior, told me that, look, if you wish to achieve things faster in this profession, what you need to do is that you have to be fully prepared on facts of the matter. So there used to be briefs around us. So he used to tell me, just pick up whichever brief is there and see that you make notes, you are fully prepared on that. You may not be asked a single question by anybody in the conference. You may not be even briefed in the matter. But if you are prepared, you will achieve things faster. And believe me, I did follow that practice, and that is the result. The result of that is there to be seen. What happened was, many clients and many solicitors who used to come to brief our seniors in our chamber, they started noticing. And when they started noticing, they realized that here is a person who is preparing himself. He's completely unconnected with the matter, but he still is preparing himself. And that is how I started getting work very early in my life, in point of time. And ultimately, the time came when I was opposing my own senior. So that was the high point, very early in my life. So in land acquisition matters, in apportionment references under section 30, in Bombay, the stakes are very high. So I used to oppose my senior in many matters on behalf of opposing adversaries and clients. So that is what was the result of what we did, as juniors. Another concept which they introduced me at that point of time, I made a small this thing was, yes, grooming. Some of you all who must have spoken to me, I must have introduced this topic to you all, grooming, you know. So they told me that if you wish to achieve things faster, you have to groom yourself. So a lot of things were introduced by them, many things which I did not know in life. So they used to tell me, you know, a lot of things about how do you carry yourself. So I remember an episode of Justice Baum. Madam Justice Baum was there in Bombay. She was an extremely steadfast judge. You know, when I joined the bar, she retired after 4 or 5 years thereafter. She used to be extremely strict in court. She never used to tolerate a digression of dress code which is prescribed in the Advocates Act in the court. She used to just leave her work and immediately reprimand whoever that junior was. Initially she used to be nice and then she used to reprimand. The idea was that Justice Baum also felt that you can cut down on your gestation if you follow the strict rule which is prescribed insofar as grooming is concerned. She was not so, she used to particularly talk about the dresses, the color of the dress sometimes, you know, the prescribed under the Advocates Act for the ladies, for the gents. But the idea of Justice Baum was that she used to say that I want to ensure that all the juniors who are here, they cut down on their gestation so that they are more focused. Otherwise, this place would become a fashion parade, you know, in the court. So whenever the juniors come to me and when my students are there, you know, I tell them that grooming, body language is very important. I find a lot of juniors are quite heighted. You know, they have a very good height. So I tell them, you will have to groom yourself in projection of your voice in the court. That is very important. Make best use of your height. Because even in a sport you will find, you know, a person in the same weight category, if he has a better height, his reach is better, larger, bigger, right? So similarly it applies to our profession also. What you all can do is that you all can groom your voice projection if you have a good height. Your stance in the court. There is a very senior lawyer over here whom I have seen in the last 4 months, Mr. Anand Parchure. No, he stands upright, straight. I would like all juniors to have a look at him. Even if his adversary or opponent says something bad about his client, he will never get frustrated. He will never even blink his eyelid also. He will just stand steadfast and he will only look into the eyes of the judge. But this is something which is very important, which I try to tell juniors, which I have learned over a period of time. Another facet which I would like to introduce to the juniors is something which is a little extra work for all of you all. But please do it. I did it because some seniors introduced it to me and I have achieved fabulous results with that. In every matter that I was briefed, every matter, I used to prepare a 1-page list of dates, 1-page list of dates and a 3-page synopsis. Invariably, whether it was required, not required, and I used to update that by regularly and constantly reading it before every hearing, because you know they have lots of adjournments. In Bombay, they have lots of adjournments. Here it is, the adjournments are cut short. And believe me, whether the judge would look into it or not, give it to the judge at the outset. Believe me or not, you know, you will be noticed. This is a facet where you will be noticed for the extra work and the effort that you are undertaking. The reason is, a judge told me this when I was an advocate. He told me that we are inundated with 100 matters on the board. We barely read 25 to 30 matters on the previous day. It's not possible. Even I find it very difficult to read. Only on Sundays I manage to read. Otherwise, the rest of the days it's not possible. The average is 12 to 13 matters per hour. And after that, after a couple of hours, there is saturation. So he told me that we are very happy if the case gets introduced to us. For those who, I did a lot of trial court work, practice in the trial court. I used to visit all courts in Maharashtra. Except Nagpur. Nagpur I did not come. But, whenever we used to argue a final hearing, or even before starting reading evidence, because when I joined the bar, we did not have Order 18 Rule 4, we had to read evidence, examination in chief. So that training really helped us. So the idea was, in the trial court, when you get introduced to, when you start opening a case, the judge always wanted to know what this case was about before the evidence began. So we had to briefly, in 15 minutes or 10 minutes, introduce the entire case, in the written statement to the judge. So at that point of time, this synopsis of 1 page and 3-page synopsis and 1 page of list of it, please don't extend it by more than 2 or 3 pages. Let me tell you that. Judges get annoyed then if you give them a long list. But if you give them a short list, they are very happy to take it. They are very happy to pass orders. And what is the reciprocation in this? The reciprocation in this is that you get noticed. It's a feather in your cap, let me tell you that. And I want to tell all of you all, I found that this bar in Nagpur is extremely well prepared. If you ask them a question, I must have come across only 1 or 2 advocates who do not answer me, give the answer. The rest of them give us the direct answer to the question. It's a fantastic habit, please maintain it. Fantastic habit. You answer it directly, you get noticed. The reason why I am telling you all these things are because after 10 years and 15 years of your life, you will come to a stage of legacy. And at that point of time, there will be an opportune moment for you all in your own profession. You might get invited to be a judge. You might get designated as a senior advocate. I hope you all know that senior advocate's designation is now undertaken by an interview process in Bombay, everywhere. In fact, for the Bombay High Court, the interviews for this batch of 57 senior advocates took place just last week. Let me tell you all that. Unlike the earlier days, old school days, where you had to apply and everything was in a wheel of secrecy. So you will be interviewed. At that interview, all these things will really count for it. And you never know, a lot of opportunities open up. You might get called upon to lead commissions, or you might get called upon to lead standing councils for various programs, various institutions. All those are feathers in your cap. Your gestation will definitely get cut shorter. Now, this was the first book which influenced me and impressed me for backward integration. So, the backward integration was that I had to ensure that I had to develop healthy mind, healthy body. I had to be very focused on these things. Conversational English, precis writing, comprehension, filtration of my distractions, grooming. I always sometimes tell young lawyers, if they sport a stubble, I tell them, what is this? If they wear a kada, I tell them, put it in your pocket unless it has religious significance. And after 5 o'clock, you can just wear it for style purposes. You are getting noticed, remember that. You may be brilliant otherwise. But these are instances, I insist sometimes, sometimes, some juniors come to me with a headgear. So I tell them, look, this is not the way, if you wish to be a lawyer, try cultivating something which will probably help you out. Now the second book which influenced me during my career as a lawyer, and this is very important, why I wish to introduce this book to you all is. This was a book written by Kishore Biyani of the Future Group. The name of the book is It Happened Only in India. Some of you all must have read this book because it's a very popular book and one of his most famous brand name. Can anybody tell me what that brand name is?
Future Group.
Big Bazaar.
Big Bazaar.
Big Bazaar. This book was written in 2007 as his autobiography. I happen to know Kishore Biyani right from his initial days. Of course, he's quite senior to me in age. But since I used to live in South Bombay, he also hailed from South Bombay. This man, Kishore Biyani, right from his college days, he studied commerce in Hinduja College in South Bombay, which was just next door to my school. He had a penchant for business. And the reason why this book influenced me was because this man, Kishore Biyani, failed umpteen number of times. But despite failures, he resurrected himself. This book is a very fine read because a man who got influenced by someone called Walter in America and tried to copy that concept and successfully did that. He successfully implemented Big Bazaar in India, initially in the Tier A cities. Thereafter, he went out of Tier A cities. He went into the Tier B, Tier C, tertiary cities. And ultimately, now he's a venture capitalist and all that. I mean, the rest is history. But this book influenced me for only this reason. In 2007, when this book was written, and when I ended up reading this book, he failed and failed and failed. He dabbled at virtually everything, but he refused to give up. He refused to give up. Now, I will not comment upon the ethical side of many things, whether it is the polyester prince of Dhirubhai Ambani or whether it is Kishore Biyani. But the idea is, when we venture out as a professional, there are bound to be bouts of failures, depression. A couple of times I also asked this question to myself, that what am I doing? Did I do the right thing of resigning from my job in the railways, giving up such a job when all my contemporaries are now officers, and it happens. Now to motivate yourself, it's very important. And this is that book which really influenced me after the first 10 years of my career as a lawyer. So it had a very deep impact on my mind, only for this reason that no matter whatever comes your way, push yourself to the zenith. Don't be afraid of failure in life. You are constantly noticed, you are constantly watched. Until 2016, I had never ever thought that I would ever end up being here. It was only in June 2017 that something happened and I said a straight no. Because first of all, I was not sure what this meant. And of course, the second thing was obviously the financial aspect. But then, when you see the reasons behind things happening, then you realize that whatever you have done has come to the fore. It is getting acknowledged. That is why I wish to tell all of you all that if you follow these concepts of simple things, like grooming yourself, how to conduct yourself in courts. I'll give you a couple of examples of conduct in court also, which are very important for lawyers. Never argue with your opponent. Your opponent is the best friend, remember that. Never argue with him. Never chide him. Never deride your opponent. Why should you do that? By doing that, you are sending a wrong impression to the court also, to the bench also. Never do that. You may be brilliant otherwise, absolutely. What is the point? You have to just present your case to the court. On the contrary, help your opponent. Remember one thing, whenever you all cite judgments in the court, please take out extra Xerox copies of the judgments. Before you hand over the copies to the bench, the person next to you is entitled to a copy first. Give a copy to him first and thereafter hand it over to the bench. this is bound to get noticed, remember that. Many a time it so happens that you give us copy, then that gentleman is left without a copy, he stands up, he looks into your... But suppose if you are on the other side, and if you face a similar ignominy, then what you should do is, you should just pat his back and say, I will share your copy. Even this is going to get noticed, remember that. The reason why I wish to tell you all these things is because I actually got a virtual feedback from the judges when I was a lawyer. That yes, there are certain things they do notice. And these are the things which probably catapult you, not only in achieving whatever you have thought, but they are also enormous, steps in making you a successful lawyer. Remember that. Successful lawyer. I also insist that your shoes should be polished, then your hair should be parted. But all those things are based on my perception probably. But generally, yes, there are things which you will have to groom yourself in each and every way. Be extremely humble. Your humility is going to be noticed by each and every person. It's going to be noticed by virtually all quarters. The bench, clients of other advocates, junior advocates, senior advocates. Each one is going to be a resource. Remember that. Each one is going to be a resource. So when you embark upon this and when you are practicing this, what you all have to remember is you really have to cultivate your resources. And if you follow these things, probably yes, things will be much, much easier. Now, keeping this aside, a third thing which influenced my life during my journey, this is the last thing, I won't take much time. In Bombay, there is a company called Landmark Forum. I don't know whether they conduct sessions in Nagpur, but in Bombay, since the early 80s I'm saying, this company has been conducting full-length personality development sessions. The session begins at 8 o'clock on Friday morning and ends at 1:30 on Sunday night with 2 breathers, that is 2 gaps of 5 hours only. 5 hours only, remember that. The rest of the time you have to be seated in an auditorium like this and undergo the pressure of the sessions. The sessions are actually meant for those people who require to take decisions with respect to relationships or careers. These are the 2 main subjective references. Now, when I did this session, I found a couple of concepts introduced by them to be applicable to our profession. And those are the couple of concepts which I would like to share with you. The first concept is of looking good. Please don't try to look good in front of your senior, in front of your friends, in front of your family, in front of your children, in front of your parents, just for the sake of looking good. Be extremely frank, don't feel embarrassed to speak your heart out. The theory of looking good is very damaging. Just in order to please somebody, you will say, "Ha mein ha milaya." No, don't do that. You will be noticed if you speak your mind out. And believe me, you will be noticed. So the theory of looking good is very important for each and every lawyer at any stage of his life. I'll give you an example. I'm extremely attached to Justice Shukre and Justice Deshpande. So on day 1, Justice Shukre told me, "Let's have tea," after coming from the dais. So I told him, "Sir, I'm sorry, I don't have tea." He said, "Very well, then you can just sit and join me for tea." I said, "I'm sorry, sir, I will not do that also, because I would like to retire to bed." Because immediately coming down from my dais, I have either to go to the washroom or either to check my phone because my family is in Bombay. So that is my time. But if you wish that I should sit on the dais with you till 9 o'clock in the evening, night, I am ready to do that. So I tell you, please don't try to look good. You will be respected for not looking good. You will be respected for not looking good. It's very important, this concept of looking good. Well, the next is the theory of rejection. So what is this theory of rejection that I am talking about? Many a times I find juniors, they are quiet, their body language is a little succinct. So they feel that if they ask something and if the answer is no, it means a rejection. Or if they ask something to somebody and if they receive a reply in the negative, it is a rejection. Just look at it as a no for that particular moment and forget it. The theory of rejection is very important. Why? Because if you carry the theory of rejection with you, it will not allow you to do anything worthwhile the next moment. I'll give you an example of the game of cricket. If a catch gets dropped, for example, on ball number 1, on ball number 2, the cricketers are actually mind trained that they have to go and bowl and field with ball number 2 with a vengeance, with the same vigor, because they have to eradicate the theory of rejection. Because if they have theory of rejection, if their shoulders are stooping and if they say, oh, what the hell has happened, the ball number 2 will also get whacked to the boundary line. So the cricketers are given this mind training. So even as lawyers, you will get noticed if you learn to give honest answers. Whether it is to the bench, whether it is to your senior, whether it is something which is affecting you personally. All this is very, very important. Why? Because you get noticed. These are instances where your journey will become a little faster. Your trajectory and growth is going to be faster. And then the last thing which I would like to introduce to you all is legacy and values. I always tell people who meet me that our lifespan is only 60 years and 70, 60, 65 years. The first 23 years or 25 years we end up studying, then we try to get into this career business and try to settle and get married in that particular time frame. We have children, then bringing up children is a big problem, or maybe not a problem. Your spouse. So by the time you are 40, 45, you are fairly settled, you can say, fairly, still. So how much time does it leave you thereafter to leave a legacy? And you need to leave a legacy because people should remember you. That is very important. Now what are we here to do so far as legacy is concerned? So we have the most easiest thing to do in law. To leave the legacy in law. I always tell juniors and lawyers that invest yourself to such an extent that come out of the big block of mediocrity. Because there is phenomenal competition. Start grooming yourself. Start introducing yourself to new words. Even at this age, start maintaining a scrapbook where you can learn new words, write new words, employ new words in your drafting. Your drafting should be sober. I have told many juniors that look, don't threaten the other side that in case if you don't do this, I will take criminal action and this and that. That is a negative trait. Be very sober in every draft that you do. So leaving a legacy is very important for each one of us. Simultaneously also practice your hobbies. You all should, if you like to play a sport, please play that sport. Indulge yourself in something which you like, but don't indulge in something different. Apart from legacy, the last thing which I would like to tell you all is values of life. Please, at this stage of your life, start working on which are the values of your life which you all are going to live for. The values could be wealth, career, children, family, love, respect, spouse, justice, XYZ, and at the end of it, peace of mind. So, if you have your values of life in front of you, and if you are able to prioritize these values of life, you will be in a much better position to enjoy your profession also. These are the three things, these two books, Polyester Prince, Landmark, then Kishore's book, It Happened Only in India, and this Landmark Forum, they really influenced me. If you all get a chance to go to Bombay and attend this particular session of Landmark Forum, it's a 3-day non-stop session with a 5-hour breather in between. It starts on a Friday morning. Generally, what they do is that every 3 or 4 months they have 3 or 4 sessions running continuously at Worli. And initially, on day 1, there are 500 candidates. Day 2, it becomes 400. Day 3, it becomes 200. Because it's quite difficult, but then you will, evolve over there, and you will come to know the essence of what you are doing also in life. If you get an opportunity and if you have time, attend this particular session. It will really do a whole lot of benefit to you, especially from the lawyer's perspective. Let me tell you that. Being prepared on fact. When Justice Deshmukh, Milind from Nagpur, he took over as judge of the special court in Bombay. I was already a standing counsel for about 4 years, 5 years at that point of time. He called all of us and he told us that, look, don't be under the impression that you all will have to argue everything in front of me. Don't argue any law in front of me. But I want you all to be prepared on facts to the hilt. And believe me, and he said that, look, so far as the law is concerned, I will take care of it. And that journey that I experienced personally in front of Justice Deshmukh, we used to handle 80 matters. I used to handle 80 matters a day, on 5 days a week, non-stop, in commercial law matters. So there are some junior, some names I don't know, but they are pretty good. Just try to recollect. They are pretty good. Don't bother about your language. Your language is not something that matters. Content is what matters. And equally, I'm impressed also by, don't bother about, you are not the mouthpiece of your client who is named, you remember that. You should remember that. You are the officer of the court first. So, you people are people who can really resurrect and pull it off. See, I tell you, take advantage of Nagpur. What I found in Nagpur was, all these courts are in this same circuit over here. Unlike Bombay, in Bombay, we had restrictions of accepting briefs from solicitors. We had to return briefs many a times. We had to return standing briefs with us. Why? Because we had other commitments, and our other commitment was such that if I go to one place, I would not be in a position to go to the other place. But Nagpur gives you that opportunity. So here, this is a place where, it's a happening place. We have a family court, you have a district court, you have a consumer forum, you have commissions over here, the tribunal is there, the high court is there. Keep yourself invested and busy. Filter all your other distractions. Now, I know Nagpur is a place of eating because everybody talks about eating all the time. Unlike Bombay. But still, filter your distractions and wish you all the best. And I'm sure in the next 5-10 years, I should see a few faces of this bar to come on this side, and they have the potential, I can tell you that. And push yourself a little bit. You just require to go into that top gear, nothing more. I think you all are already into the 4th gear, I can tell you that. And you all are really doing really well, the youngsters. I must, while parting, I must also mention the preparation of the government leaders. Quite impressed. The government, and each one of you, even as juniors, take a cue of that. The government leaders over here, the moment they are asked a question, they will give you a direct answer. I can just take a few names because they have appeared in our court, courts, both the courts. Ms. Khan is there, then Anand Deshpande is there, then some names I just don't know. But they are always well prepared. It's very important. See, look at from a very different perspective. What is the role in being prepared in government matters? They must be handling at least 10-20 matters a day, but still they are prepared. So that is the investment that they are doing, which is getting noticed. If you get an opportunity to become a government leader, do it. It's a little faster route, I can say. Why? Because you get an opportunity to stand over there and build your confidence. Unlike private practice, you get an opportunity to stand there in every second or third matter and then 20-30 matters a day. You are evolving every day. Even as judges, I am telling you, I am evolving every day. Every day I am learning a new thing. So it's very important that you invest yourself, filter your distractions a little bit, sacrifice your indulgences a little bit if you want to achieve. And yes, please don't look at law only as from the litigation point of view. If you all have entrepreneurial and managerial skills, you all can take up good jobs in companies. You all can be entrepreneurs, not necessarily you wish to practice law. You all can have an opinion-based practice also in a particular field of law. You all can, youngsters, I can see a lot of youngsters, you all can become solicitors. Sign an articleship and become a solicitor. Or if your pockets are a little deep, go to England, do your LLM for 1 year, an added facet at an early point of time which will boost your confidence for youngsters. Do your solicitors from England where you don't have to appear for an exam. The examination is to be done from your own house, your own hostel, by writing your own thesis. You get a solicitor's UK degree for that, which is recognized in India, let me tell you that. It's an added feather. You can go to any university in the US and do your LLM over there. If you are young and if you have if you are in a position to do that. Acquire something as early as possible, so that later on it will probably help you out. And all the best to you all. Love your parents, very important. My mother is 76 years old. She superannuated in the year 2001. I became a lawyer in the year 2000. And she's extremely proud now, looking at me. So give that joy to your parents. And in fact, I congratulated my senior Justice Deshpande. 3 generations of kids were, witness to this particular event. And I can tell you that, this reciprocity, there is no better reciprocation than this. Of giving satisfaction to your parents, your peers. Both my peers, my friends who helped me in becoming a lawyer first, they are so proud of me. Dr. Date has already got his PhD in DNA. He is the only person in India who has got his PhD in DNA forensic and fingerprinting. Extremely proud of me. So give pride to the people who have invested in law. Okay? Wish you all the best, and I am sure all of you will do very well in life, especially the youngsters. Groom yourself a little bit, All the best to you all. Thank you very much.